Hello everyone, welcome back to the story of Alec and Ella, our modern day Cinderella. Now we move to Agatha, the fairylands, and we get to see a little bit of truth about Agatha, I suppose, rather than the dramatic one we know. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. With slow steps, I trudge along the forest path. It takes all my focus, but I carefully arrange myself into the definition of one word: misery. For me, acting gloomy is a key life skill. It allows me to hide in plain sight, all while limiting how much I interact with my family. On reflex, I think through my sad girl checklist. Weepy eyes, got 'em. I'm also working a single tear on my right cheek. That's what you call on advanced mope skill. Morning veil. I wear this thing like a pro. Slumped shoulders. I spent years honing how to curl myself forward just the right way. All the while, I push up my inner sense of gloom. That really helps me nail the overall look. Normally feeling morose comes pretty easily to me. Not today. Why? For years, I've dreamed of visiting one place. Now, I'm finally here. The fairylands, at last. I can't help but soak in the landscape. Stout trees tower nearby, their hefty trunks topped by leafy branches. Blades of grass look so bright they could be shards of emeralds. A clear blue sky arches overhead. 3 yellow sunbeams down. Butterflies flit everywhere. Pure happiness bubbles through me. It's tempting to grin my face off. Keep frowning, Agatha. You know what happens when you lose a sad girl look. Shifting my gaze, I see the reason right ahead of me. Ivy and Marchesa. If you asked Elisinde, she'd say Marchesa is my mother while Ivy's my sister. Together the three of us make up the evil stepfamily for Cinderella life template. But it's all a lie. I'm not sure how it goes for other evil stepsisters, but this template doesn't work for me. I'm neither evil nor a stepsister. As a matter of fact, I'm not even human. I'm an elf. A changeling, sadly. Marchesa's second baby died shortly after birth. I was swapped in by parties unknown. Around age 8, a silver mark appeared on my hip that shows a moon and 3 stars. This became my first clue to my non-human state. Soon afterwards, I caught sight on my elf ears. They only appeared for a second, even so it was enough to get the general idea. I don't belong. Ever since then, I've been trying to discover my true identity. No luck yet. But perhaps soon I'll know everything. Somewhere in fairylands, there's the moonbeam mirror, a magical object that shows the true nature of whoever looks into it. If I can find that thing, I'll know who I am at last. Just contemplating that mirror sends a warm sense of satisfaction through me. Big mistake. For hours, Ivy's stride has been smooth. Now she shivers. Oh no, it's happening again. Somehow that girl always knows when I get in a good mood. Ivy glances at me over her shoulder, in the soft light of the triple suns. Ivy is tall, bright-eyed and graceful. She's so lovely, you'd think she was the elf in the family. Marchesa carries the same wide-eyed beauty. As the saying goes, it's only skin deep. What's your problem? Ivy asks. Oh, I sigh. Everything. Ivy stops. Liar. You're mighty pleased about something, and you have no right. We're in exile. For weeks, Mother and I have meandered forest paths in search of help. And this right here, this spontaneous lecture on how I suck, is why I always work on my inner sad girl. Interacting with Ivy or Marchesa is never pleasant. That said, when nasty words are sent my way, I don't exactly ignore them either. I was meandering with you. You're right, I ask. You make it sound like you and Marchesa were alone. Don't be rude, counters Ivy. You're accusing me of being happy, and now I'm being rude. Which is it? Ivy turns to Marchesa. Mother, I need told you. Agatha's being impossible. Call me Agatha, I correct. She always tends to call me Aggie. I've been trying to stop the Aggie nickname since I was 6 years old. Manchester saunters over to pet Ivy's shoulder. What's the girl doing now? In front of outsiders, I'm her cherished daughter, Agatha. When it's just us three, I'm always a girl. Ivy sniffles. Aggie doesn't take our exile seriously. Again, Manchester rounds on me. Why do you keep upsetting your sister? After all I've done for you. These past weeks, I've taken everything in me to keep us all fed and clothed. Don't I usually forage and cook? I ask. Did I miss something? You're so ungrateful. Ivy focuses on Manchester. She's about to wander away once more. Mark my words. I could shut up now, but I don't. Life gives me few pleasures. Talking back to Ivy and Manchester is one of them. I'm wandering away, I ask. You two have been sneaking off on me, not the other way round. As a matter of fact, I don't know where Ivy and Manchester go, but I'm sure it's related to our destination for today's stroll, which raises the question. Where are we heading anyway? I ask. Ever since we three were exiled from Earth, Manchester's been scheming to wreak a revenge on Ella and Alec. My guess is that she's found a willing ally, and that's whoever we're seeing today. Ivy and Manchester exchange a long look. A whole conversation hides inside that stare. Eventually, Manchester shrugs. I suppose you'll find out soon enough. We've been summoned to the palace of Null Adele, the mistress of Moonshadow. My heart races. I have a moon-shaped birthmark on my hip, and now Adele is the mistress of the Moonshadow. Could I be part of Na Adele's court? The moment the thought arises, I press it away. Thinking about Na Adele just sends more joyful thoughts in my direction. That's the last thing I need right now. I refocus on today's mission. Let me guess. You've been sneaking out to visit Na Adele's court for a while, but you never brought me along before. Why am I joining you now? Ivy and Manchester don't reply. Instead, the pair resume marching along the trail. Before we all walked in silence, now Ivy and Manchester whisper together while occasionally glancing in my direction. I can't tell much of what they're saying, but the words brat and impudent come up a lot. A thin white line cuts across the path ahead. The mark glows with ethereal light, so it's not something that humans like Ivy and Manchester can see. But I pick it out easily enough. It's the boundary. That going line means we're about to pass from fiefdom into another. In the fairylands, that can be a dangerous thing to do. Right now, we're in the realm of sunshine, but beyond that border, who knows what we'll encounter. I cup my hand by my mouth. Be careful. If Ivy and Manchester hear me, they don't show it. Instead, the pair march right across the line, vanish from view. I follow. Once I cross the boundary, the landscape instantly changes. A moment ago, everything was bathed in sunshine. Now the world sits in shadow and mist. A giant moon hangs in the sky, its surface covered in semi-darkness. We all stand near the edge of a cliff, or so I assume. There's a rope bridge through the clouds to another outcropping of land. The truth hits me with a wallop. No wonder Ivy and Manchester didn't stop. They'd been here before. This must be the realm of Na Adele. A chill of awe prickles over my skin. Oh, what I know about the fairylands. I learned from surfing Magic Web back in New York. That's how I learned about the Moonbeam Mirror. But there was never anything on Magic Web about places like this one. It's both upsetting and beautiful all at once. We're here. Manchester then fluffs Ivy's hair. You look lovely. Perfect for meeting the mistress of Moonshadow. Ivy grins. Thank you. Turning, Ivy looks me over from head to toe and frowns. It's a kind of grimace she usually reserves for two occasions, namely particularly nasty roadkill or any assessment on my appearance. Ivy sighs. I wish you hadn't lost your hat. I didn't lose it, I correct. Some pixie stole it. On reflex, I pull my veil more tightly around my head. Every once in a while, I get strong emotions and unconsciously cast a spell. Sometimes it's cool stuff, like when I helped Ella escape from Marchesa. Other times, oh, did you hear that? Like when I helped Ella escape from Marchesa. We didn't know that, did we? Other times, my elven ears just show up out of nowhere. But I never know when that'll happen, so I always keep some headgear on. I wish we could hide her face, states Marchesa. Losing that floppy hat is a catastrophe. Once more, here's where I should keep my mouth shut, but I don't. That's a little extreme, I counter. I lost a hat, not a nuclear missile. Marchesa shoots me a side eye. Without your hat, all these beautiful fae will see how your makeup runs down your face. It's like having a clown in the family. Ivy tries to hide a giggle behind her hand. She doesn't work too hard at it, though. What a mess you are. This is one of the odd facts about being me, by the way. I don't even wear mascara, yet it still runs down my face. I chalk it up to the strange side effects of being magical. The mists rise and congeal into the form of a gaunt woman in grey body armour. Her pale skin is highlighted by dark, inset eyes while her hair is piled atop her head in a messy bun. But that's not the strangest part of her appearance. The lady's mouth is covered over by a single sheet of skin. I remember the lyrics from a human song. Oh, I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow. And if I ever lose my mouth or my teeth, north and south, yes, if I ever lose my mouth, oh, if I won't have to talk. This woman certainly lost her mouth. But can she still speak? As if in reply, the woman lifts a claw-tipped hand up to her jaw and tears off the skin covering her lips. The flesh tears away like it's already dead, revealing an overly wide mouth and pointed teeth. I'm Lady Cloake. People call me Lady Cloake, she says in a deep and rasping voice. I gasp. She's scary as hell. And for the first time, I realise the true risk here. Marchesa and Ivy want to ruin Ella and Alec. Yet by creating this alliance with Not Adele, they could end up destroying us all. Where would that get us? Ivy and Marchesa curtsy. Greetings, Lady Cloake, they say in unison. I shake my head. Just a few minutes ago, I was the one trying to warn them that they were heading into another fiefdom. Meanwhile, it might have been helpful for them to share how Now Adele has a terrifying god. Lady Cloake raises her arms. Lines of black shadow curl up from the misty ground, their shapes reminding me of wide ribbons. The strips rise to surround all four of us, like the bars in a cage. We're closed in. This time I know to look at Ivy and Marchesa for clues as to what's going on. Neither of them seem worried, so I'm guessing this is just how things work with Lady Cloake. So far, so good. Lady Cloake snaps her fingers. More dark ribbons of shadow rise up. These wrap around me, mummy style, holding me in place. Alarm rattles down my spine. I shoot another glance at my so-called family. Ivy looks shocked but happy. Marchesa seems wary. I'm guessing this isn't something that happens. Lady Cloake steps up to me and eyes me carefully. My heart pounds so hard, I'll be surprised if I don't crack a rib. Reaching forward, Lady Cloake grabs my chin. A cold claws dig into my warm flesh. On reflex, I try to twist away from the grasp. The shadow bindings hold me perfectly in place. Little by little, Lady Cloake leans in closer. When her mouth is by my neck, she inhales deeply, looking into my soul. I try to see if I can access any of my inner magic. Not that I know how to wield it. Still, if Lady Cloake is going to attack, it could be my only defence. But my magic stays firmly out of reach. Long moments pass. At last, Lady Cloake steps backwards. She snaps her fingers. My shadow bindings fall away. You may go, she tells me. Iris steps forward. Wait a second. I thought Meltadel wanted to... Assess her. And that's what I just did, replies Lady Cloake in a deep voice. She's a worthless human. Aren't you going to kill her? Asked Ivy. I heard Nardell has a special altar for that. Hey now, I declare. No one said anything about killing. Technically, no one said anything to me at all. But with any luck, Lady Cloake thinks I'm a normal family, where we tend to discuss every detail of big stuff like this. It's not as if I have a ton of other options. Lady Cloake snaps her fingers again. The shadowy cage around us disappears. No one dies today. Turning, Lady Cloake starts over the bridge. That leads to what I assume to be Nardell's castle. Good news. Ivy, however, is not pleased. Wait, she cries. If you aren't going to be killing Agatha, then why did you ask us to bring her here? Lady Cloake pauses and turns around. Nardell assumed she was an inferior human. But you never can be certain. I was instructed to check her just in case. She gestures towards me. And this thing is definitely powerless. Ivy frowns. Don't you think she might be hiding something under a glamour spell? Much as I hate to admit it, I have to give points here to Ivy. While Marchesa avoids my presence, Ivy and I spend most of our days together. Clearly she noticed something different about me. I have my orders, says Lady Cloake. I have fulfilled them. But sometimes Agatha looks like she has. Ivy nibbles a lower lip. What's all this? Snaps Marchesa. We discussed what would happen here today. Oversharing about Agatha isn't part of the plan. Lady Cloake tilts her head. Sometimes it looks like she has what? Like she has ears of an elf. It says Ivy. Only for a second, though. Marchesa gasps. Ivy! She's always wearing those hats, Mother. Don't you think it's strange? There are many strange things about Agatha, but not her ears. Marchesa focuses on Lady Cloake. You must excuse my daughter. We've been wandering the fairylands for weeks now without food or shelter. Lady Cloake stomps back in my direction. All of a sudden it feels like my lungs are stuck in a vice. After pausing before me, Lady Cloake runs a clawed finger down my cheek. Elf ears, eh? At this point, I could run, but that would be admitting that Ivy's telling the truth. The best thing I can do is stand here and try forcing air into my lungs. Lady Cloake snaps her fingers. We'll see. Fresh shadow bindings rise up from the clouds to curl around me once more. A tingle rises in my chest. Oh no. My magic is awakening. Before, I wanted it to so I could fight back, but in this moment, it will only serve to reveal my true nature. Please not now. I make the mistake of glancing over to Ivy. Her face positively beams with joy. How empty you must feel, I whisper, to need to fill yourself up on my pain. Ivy's smile melts away. If I die now, at least I did that. Lady Cloake slides her claw finger over my ear, pulling back my veil. She leans in until I sense her fetid breath along my throat. Then she sinks her teeth into my flesh. I crouch in surprise and shock. Pain spikes where her canines dig in, and blood trickles down my skin. Lady Cloake leans away from me for a long moment. She runs a long pointed tongue across her impossible wide mouth. I struggle against my shadow bindings, but they hold me too tightly. Panic zings through my limbs. What does Lady Cloake plan to do next? Long seconds pass as she licks off every last drop of my blood. Human, declares Lady Cloake. The shadow bindings vanish once more. I pull in long lungfuls of air. On reflex, I press my palm against the fresh wound on my throat. Marchesa steps up to my side. My dear sweet Agatha, are you all right? Here we go again. There's an audience, so I'm now dear sweet Agatha. I'm fine, and if my words have a bitter edge to them, so be it. Normally Ivy would play along with the display, not this time. She steps closer to Lady Cloake. Human, asks Ivy. Are you sure? None but the Moonbeam King could cast a glamour spell to fool me, and he's been dead for many of your human years. Lady Cloake clacks a razor-sharp teeth together. I am certain. You'd think bleeding down my neck would be a shocker, but to me, these words from Lady Cloake are an even bigger deal. She just talked about the Moonbeam King. I'm definitely an elf, so my true self must be hidden by the power of the Moonbeam King. But why? How? And who does that make me, exactly? I simply must find that mirror. Ivy shakes her head. Can't you check her one more time? I shoot Ivy an angry look. Thanks for the support, sister. Lady Cloak rounds on Ivy. I take orders from Naladel alone, and my mistress desires you to now visit Galloway Castle, the seat of Prince Jacoby. Once there, you shall proceed with the plan my mistress has given you previously. But, Ivy begins, Lady Cloak snaps her fingers once more. Fresh shadow bindings rise up from the mist. Only this time, the ribbons surround Ivy. Lady Cloak wags her finger, her clawed fingers before Ivy's face. I don't have any orders about you, or your sorry hide. You can live or die, it's all the same to not Adele. Do you know what that means? Ivy shakes her head. I could feast on your flesh right now. What do you say? She stares at the pulse at Ivy's throat. Maybe it's my face side, but I know what will happen next. Ivy pushed Lady Cloak too far. My stepsister about to become lunch. There's no reason for me to speak up here at all. After all, Ivy just showed me that she wouldn't do the same for me. Still, I won't let Marchesa and Ivy change me into someone who'll stand by and watch someone get chomped to death by a crazy elf, or when I could do something to stop it. Ivy's crucial to the great plan, I declare. Now Adele will be displeased if you kill her. Lady Cloak stares between me and Ivy. Then she snaps her fingers once more. The bindings fall away. Without another word, Lady Cloak flies off toward the castle. This time, Ivy doesn't try to stop her. Once we're alone again, Ivy and Marchesa yammer on about how I almost got them both killed. I ignore it. This happens every time. I help my so-called family. With Ivy and Marchesa, I'm always a problem. Normally I snap back and put them in place. Yet this time, I've got bigger things to focus on. Lady Cloak just orders all off to the Prince Jacoby's palace. Just the thought makes my legs feel watery beneath me. In my mind, I picture Jacoby's aristocrat face. His hair is short, dark and tasselled, while his body's lean and strong. Classic elf royalty. That's not what truly is extraordinary about him, though. Jacoby wears determination like a suit of armour. No matter what, he forges ahead in everything with a sense of power and light. I've had a crush on him since I can remember. The prince has never noticed me, though, only Ella. Still, Jacoby is royal in fiefdom of fortitude. If anyone knows where to find the Moonbeam Mirror, it will be him. What if Jacoby and I went to find the mirror together? My stomach goes from just feeling fluttering to doing somersaults. Oh, calm down, Agatha. I shake my head. Jacoby thinks about me as much as he would last week's bird nest. As we march closer to Galloway Castle, I keep reminding myself not to think about the prince. There's no way I can get caught up in romantic daydreams. All that matters is finding that mirror. Well, that's bloody interesting, isn't it? According to this, what Agatha's saying is she helped Ella escape, so she probably brought him that, what's the word? She probably did all, you know what? Ella said someone's been helping her all along. Maybe that's Agatha that's helping her, you see? Agatha's been so quiet in the first story, so we haven't got to know her very well. Ivy, we know her, she's a bitch. But Agatha has been quiet. That's unreal, like finding out that she helped Ella escape by bringing all them visions onto her to help her become more powerful and, and get her out of there. But, like, what if it's Agatha that's been helping Ella all along? And you see, Agatha's not really on her family's side anyway. She's a changeling, so she's definitely not going to feel like she fits in, trust me. And she's not going to see them as family if she's a changeling child. That's not what happens. She will feel lost, like she belongs somewhere else. and she'll have a strong longing to find where she truly belongs. Honestly, that's how she would feel. Wow. Just wow. So when we come back, we're heading over to Jacoby and his castle. Thank you for listening to this episode. Very interesting indeed. Many blessings.